Thank you.
The head of the board is Dalia Lerner. Okay. You know the wife of Joseph Lerner? You know Joseph Lerner? Yeah, right guy. Tall guy.
What do you need? You need a Gemara for the rabbi.
Can we close this? Wait.
Okay, good morning, Chodesh Tov. We are learning Maseches Menachos. We are dealing with the laws of the different utensils in the Beis Hamikdash. We are up to Tzadi Amud Aleph, page 90, with the Mishnah. We are learning about measuring cups in the Beis Hamikdash. We saw in the Mishnah yesterday that there are different types of measuring cups. Actually, 2 days ago, we saw that there were 7 different types of measuring cups: hin, half a hin, a third of a hin, a quarter of a hin, a log, a half a log, a quarter of a log. So now the Mishnah says the following: Kol mido sheba mikdash, all the different measuring cups in the Beis Hamikdash, hayu nigdashos. The full measurement was only if it was heaping. In other words, it was actually a little bit less than an isaro. But if you'd have it heaping, with a godesh or something heaping over, then it would be the isaro. Chutz mishel kohen gadol, except for the measuring cups of the kohen gadol, for the chavitin, shahaya gedusha l'socha, that heap was inside of it. So in other words, once it was smoothed out on the very top, nimchak, on the very top, that's when you had the full isara. Midas halach, the various measuring cups for liquids, that we saw about that yesterday, the 7 various measuring cups for the liquids. Beirutzehen kodesh, the heap on top, the foam at the very top of it, is also holy. Midas hayavesh, but the measuring cups for that which is dry, beirutzehen chol, that which is on top, the foam at the very top, is not holy. Rabbi Akiva says, Midas halach kodesh, the measuring cups for liquids themselves are holy. That's why their heaps on top are also holy. Midas hayavesh, the measuring cups for that which is dry, are chol. They themselves are not holy. That's why their heap on top is also not holy. And Rabbi Yossi Omer lo mishum zeh, that's not what's going on. They're both holy. Ela shahalach nak nekar. When you have liquids, so when you pour in too much liquid, so the liquid that initially was inside is now dislodged, and now it heaps on the top. So therefore, it was inside, it became holy because it was inside the holy vessel. Now when it's on top, it's still holy. However, Rabbi Yossi explains, hayavesh eino nekar, when you have a measuring cup for something dry, for flour. So when you pour in the flour, so it fills up. And when you pour in more flour to heap over, that flour that heaped over, that was never inside the cup. It's not that it dislodges what was inside the cup and pushes that up to the top. What was inside the cup filled up all the space. Now what's on top is only going on top. So if it only is going on top, it never went inside, it never became holy. Okay. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah began by saying that the various measuring cups, you only got to the size that they were labeled as, let's say, isaron, with the heap that's on top. Kol midos sheba mikdash hayu nigdashos. So the Gemara says, money, who says this? Go back to Daf Peizayin. We had an argument about different measuring cups that are for dry. Rabbi Meir, if you're going to see the time of our Mishnah, Rabbi Meir, he used to say, Chad Gadushava. There's only one dry measuring cup that requires the heap for the measure to be found, and that's the measuring cup for the Kohen Gadol. Rabbanan, and if it's for the Rabbanan, if it's the view of the Rabbanan, they hold Hado Machu Kava. They don't even have one. They say everything. You get to the measuring amount by just that which is in it. You don't need any time a heap to get to the amount. So Rav Chizda answer, Lo Rabbi Meir. It is Rabbi Meir. My kol midos. What does he mean when he says all measuring cups? Kol medidos. He's saying all the measuring that was done in the mikdash was heaped, except for the measuring of the Kohen Gadol's isaron, which wasn't heaped.
Rabbi, he means what is above the,
Exactly.
the ring, right?
Yeah, above the plane. Yeah.
Why would they ever want to intentionally use
Spill.
a heaped cup when, by definition, you have to estimate things? Whereas if it's level, you get exact.
Maybe it's not an estimate. How much could you get to be heaped? Right? At a certain point, it can't be heaped anymore. Now it's going to spill over. The most that you could get, and I think that there's a certain advantage, right? Because we said the other day that we want the Beis Hamikdash to be a place of wealth and not a place.
So it looks
of
opulent, you're
I
saying?
think, yeah, it does look opulent. It looks more
Always
generous.
looks
Okay, then the Mishnah says, Midos Halach, the measuring cups for the liquids, Beirut Sehen Kodesh. The heap on top of liquid is consecrated. Midas Hayavesh, whereas the measuring cups for the dry, Beirut Sehen Chol. The heap on top is not holy. And then Rabbi Akiva says, Midas Halach is Kodesh, that's why what's on top is holy, and whereas Midas Hayavish is not holy. And Rabbi Yossi says, no, a different reason. Says the Gemara,
Is that mean if you have a flour and you have measuring cup,
yes.
okay, and you top it off, that top off is not kosher,
It's
is not holy?
Not holy, correct.
The one on the bottom is?
Because there's
Don't they get mixed up or something? Then how do
No, that's what, think about Rabbi Yossi's idea. When you fill in with flour, so the flour goes inside.
Okay.
What's topped off on top never went into the cup. It's always on top of the cup. Didn't become holy. Never went into the holy vessel.
Now when they do korbanot with the flour, don't they have to mix all of this with oil and so now holy and unholy becomes mixed up?
No, the oil is also in a holy vessel. The oil is placed into a holy vessel, and then they're both put into the bowl.
So then all of a sudden that holy oil is gonna holy the balance of that thing that was not holy? Is that what it's gonna, when you mix them up?
We'll see. We'll see.
Alright.
We'll see about that. All right, Midas Halach. When you have a measuring cup of liquids, Beirut Sei and Kodesh, the heap on top is also holy. Whereas the dry, not. And then we have an argument as to the reason for this. My Kamiflgi says the Gemara, what's the reasoning of their argument? Answers the Gemara, Tanakama Savar, Midas Halach, Nimshecha Beim Mifnimim Bachutz. Tanakama holds that the measuring cups for the liquids were anointed with the anointing oil and made holy both on the inside and on the outside. Midas Yavesh, whereas the measuring cups for the dry, for the flour, Nimshacham Bifnim, they were made holy with anointing oil on the inside. But they were never made holy on the outside, and that's why, since they were never consecrated on the outside, that's why the heap on top, which is nearly not getting into the inside, it's just being impacted by the outside, does not become holy. Rabbi Akiva Sava, Rabbi Akiva holds, Midas Halach Nimshacha Beim Bifnim Machutz. The holy the vessels for liquids were anointed on the inside and on the outside. Midas Hayavish, whereas the vessels for dry, Lo Nimshacha Kol Ikar, they weren't anointed at all. Therefore, the inside is also not holy because they were not anointed at all, and therefore they don't become holy by the vessel. And Rabbi Yossi, it's not kadosh. It's just kadosh, as Rashi says, with the fact that he declared that it's kadosh, but it doesn't have kedushas haguf, intrinsic holiness. And that's why, as Rashi says, the extra amount, the heaping part, did not become holy. Because when he says, the flour is holy for the mincha, it means what I need for the mincha. But the heaping amount that I don't need does not become holy. Yeah, question, David.
A few months ago, there was a concept that the airspace above the holiness is also
Right.
So how does that work?
That wouldn't work with Rabbi Akiva's idea, right? That would be an issue argued here amongst these opinions, exactly. And Rabbi Yossi Savar, Rabbi Yossi holds Edi v'Edi, both the measuring cups for the liquids and the measuring cups for the dry, Nimshacham b'fnim, were anointed on the inside. The lo Nimshacham b'chutz, and they were not anointed on the outside. So if they were only anointed on the inside, so why in the liquid is that which is on top holy? The heap on top of the liquid is still holy. Because when you pour in liquids, that which is already inside gets uprooted. Umigava demana kaasi, and it's coming from that which was inside of the vessel. Whereas hayavesh, if it's dry, eno neka. If it's dry, the stuff that's on the very top was not once inside and uprooted. It's just on the very top. That's why it was never made holy. So now the Gemara asks a question on this idea of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi's idea was that the reason why the heap on top of a liquid measuring cup is holy is when you pour in, it first goes inside the cup. What is the heap on top? It's not the last drops that you put in. The last drops that you put in actually sink and dislodge things that were already inside the vessel to now be on top. So it already became holy and now it's on top. So everything becomes holy. So now ask the Gemara a question. Who cares that the last drops that go in, uproot drops, and drops that were inside are now on the top, so everything is holy. Who cares? Shouldn't we be saying that a person's intent is also needed to make something holy, and his intent was for what he needed. It wasn't for the extra, it wasn't for the excess. So this excess, the heap on top of the measuring cup, that shouldn't be made holy. Rav Dimi bar Shisha, Mishmei to Rav Dimi, the son of Shishna, said in the name of Rav, Zoso Maris. From here we learn a new idea. Klisharis Makachin Shalomi Das. If something's put in a holy vessel, even if he doesn't have intent that holy vessel should consecrate it, it does consecrate it. So his intent was, let's say, for half a log to become holy. Now there's really half a log and a little bit more, because there's a little bit of a heap on top of the half a log. So even though his intent wasn't for that little bit more to become holy, his intent was for half a log to become holy, since all of it went inside the walls of the vessel, since all of it wasn't a holy vessel, it all becomes holy. Holy vessels make things holy despite intent, regardless of intent.
The whole perimeter of your, Beit HaMikdash would make everything holy. That comes in that perimeter.
No, when we say made holy, it means an intrinsic holiness, that the guf, kedushas haguf, the body itself is holy. Now if it'll spend the night, it'll become disqualified through psolina. If it's taken out of the Beit HaMikdash, be disqualified with psul yotze. That's not if you bring something into the Beit HaMikdash. It had to have gone into a klisharis, into a holy vessel, into a ministering vessel. So that's idea number one. So idea number one, and why the liquid, overflow becomes holy, according to Rabbi Yossi, is that vessels make things holy regardless of intent. So that's why, even though he wanted just the precise amount, he spilled in too much. But the whole thing went into the vessel, into the walls of the vessel, and everything becomes holy. That's idea number one. Ravina gave a different explanation. Maybe, according to Rabbi Yossi, this overflow is not really holy. It's only holy, it's treated as if it's holy. Maybe you're right. A holy vessel only makes things holy when there was intent for that amount of liquid or that amount of flour to be in this vessel. Das is also needed to make it holy. But here, the reason why the overflow is holy, ugzeira, this is all a decree. It's holy rabbinically. Shema yomru motzian mikli sharis l'chol. If somebody sees a guy fill up a cup and then spill off some of it and take it outside, he's going to think it's not from the overflow. He's going to think that you could put into a holy vessel and then take it outside. So it's going to be confused with that which is inside. So therefore, that's only true in a liquid. Because in a liquid, when you want to spill over an overflow, you have to tilt the whole liquid. So it looks like you're spilling from what's inside the liquid, what's inside the vessel out. But in a overflow of dry, when you have a heap overflowing, so you just take a spatula, right, or a knife, you go like this. Nobody thinks that you're taking from inside. So that people are not going to be confused. And therefore that which is heaping outside doesn't become holy. Whereas in a liquid, what's heaping outside is holy. It's only midrabanan because it'll be confused. If we don't make it holy, if we think it's not holy, then people are going to think that even that which is inside is not holy. Most of Rabbi Zev challenged this from the law of lechem apanim. We learned Sidras halechem. If he arranged the breads of the shulchan, of the lechem apanim, the esabazichem, and the spoons with the levona, la'achar Shabbos, not on Shabbos, but he did it after Shabbos. He did it the wrong time. Or hikter esabazichem b'Shabbos. He took the levona and he threw them into the fire of the Beis Hamikdash, of the Mizbeach, on Shabbos. So then it is psula. So the lechem wasn't done right, because the lechem was supposed to be on the table for 2 Shabbosos. Ketzagasa. So now what does he do? Yani Chana, he leaves it on the table the Shabbos haba, for the next Shabbos. That's fine. He doesn't offer the bazichin, nor does he take off the bread until the next Shabbos. So it turned out that this lechem and bazichin are going to be on the bread for 14 days. 2 Shabbosos inside of them. And it's okay, even though the bread stays on the table for too long, it's going to be okay. So now, if we have such a decree, now 1 second, even though the bread's going to stay on the table for many days, there's no problem with that. Now, if we have this decree that the heaping overflow has to be treated as holy, because if we don't treat the heaping overflow as holy, then what's inside might not be treated as holy. So now why is there such a law? Let's make the same type of a decree. Hasam nami lema. Why don't we say over there too? We should say that you're not allowed to leave the holy breads on the table for another week, because people are going to say the same way the holy bread could be left on a table for past its time. People are going to think that they could take holy items. And as Baruch pointed out for us, that when something is holy, but because it was in a holy vessel, it can't stay for too long. If it'll stay overnight, it becomes possible because of lina. But they're going to think, hey, this should be possible with no sar because it stays for 2 weeks. Lechem apanim is normally for a week. This lechem apanim stayed for 2 weeks. So they're going to think, why is it not possible as no sar? It's like, oh, because it's on a holy vessel. It's on the shulchan. So they're going to think anything which is holy with intrinsic holiness, put into a holy vessel, then you could leave it in the holy vessel for 24 hours and 48 hours and 72 hours and 96 hours. And they'll think that there's no idea of lina. Once it's in a kli sharet, they'll think that mafkidin, you could make a deposit of something in a kli sharet past the time. So Gemara says, that you think is a problem? It's not a problem. Where's the lechem apanim? Where's the shulchan? The shulchan is in the heichal. It's in the building. People don't see it. So the ignorant are not going to learn from it because they're not seeing it. But when you talk about the liquids in a holy vessel of a mincha, that's outside in the azara, that's outside in the courtyard. Everybody sees that. So when people see things, then we're worried. People are going to get confused. They'll make mistakes. They'll not realize it's only the heap on top that's being spilled out. They'll think that what's inside is being spilled out and now put into a secular vessel and carried outside. When you have things inside, nobody sees. The Gemara says that's the answer. Pnim achutz karamis, you're challenging us from a law about that which is inside the building and nobody sees, from a law about that which is outside and people sees. Pnim, that which is inside, lav kuli al miyadi, people don't know about it. Chutz, what's outside, kuli al miyadi, people know about it. So people are going to see the extra heaping of oil spilled out into a secular vessel. They're not going to realize it's only that which is on top of the plane that was spilled out. They'll think what was inside was also spilled out, and they'll think that what was inside is not holy. But what's in the Beis Hamikdash, people aren't going to make mistakes about that, because that's not seen to everybody. Says the Gemara, Tznan, we went to the Mishnah. Tznan Hasa, the Mishnah over there, Mesechet Shkalim. Mosar Nesachim, the leftover of Nesachim. Let's say, we'll see what that means, leftovers of Nesachim. Leftovers of Nesachim, I guess the simple meaning would be money, or leftovers of Nesachim would be this, right? The extra heaping of flour, the extra heaping of wine, the extra heaping of oil, the extra of the Nesachim. What does it get used for? L'kayetz hamizbeach. It gets used, the money, it goes into money. The money then goes into those 13 boxes, and it fuels what we call kayetz hamizbeach, the purchase of karbanos, just to keep the mizbeach busy. We had an account to purchase olos, that their mizbeach should always be busy. Most are nesachim, the leftovers of the nesachim go for kayetz hamizbeach. So my Moser Nesachim. What is Moser Nesachim? Rabbi Bar Yosef Amar Beirutze Midos. It's the heap on top of the measuring cups. Rabbi Yochanan says that's not what it is. It's Ka'os Sheshaninu. It's basically when Hekdesh made a profit on the trade. As we learned it again in a Mishnah. And Makabel Olav, if somebody makes a deal that he's going to be a supplier to the Beis HaMikdash, and he says, Slasos me arba. I'm going to supply fine flour 4 sa'in per sela. And now the price of flour went up. Now a sela only purchases 3 sa'in of flour. Yisapik me arba. He has to keep supplying at the cheaper price of 4 sa'in per sela. Because Hekdesh always has to get the better deal. Now, turning to Tzadi Yamid Beis, Mishalosh, let's say his deal, the handshake with Hekdesh, was that he was going to supply for per sela 3 sa'in of flour. V'amdu me'arba, and the prices went down, and now outside in the market, you can get for a sela 4 sa'in of flour. Misapik me'arba. So now you supply 4 sa'in of flour. Yad Hekdesh al Hilyona. Hekdesh always wins. Hekdesh always wins. If it helps Hekdesh that it was at the price at the time of the handshake, it's the price at the time of the handshake. If it helps Hekdesh, it's the price now, it's the price now. So this is an argument. What is the meaning of Mosar Nesach? Okay, Tanya Kavased Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef. Tanya Kavased Rabbi Yochanan. We have a brisa like Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef that Mosar Nesachim means the heap on top. We have a brisa like Rabbi Yochanan. Mosar Nesachim means the gain of Hekdesh through the change in the price of the commodity. Tanya Kavased Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef. We have a brisa like Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef. Beirutze midos halalu. Now these extra heaps on top. Mahayu osin bahen. What would they do with them? So we learned in the Brisa, Im yesh zevar acher, if there's some other carbon, yikrivu imo, let them come along with that carbon. Im lanu, and if they slept over the night, yipastu belina, then they become disqualified. Im lov, and if we don't have another carbon, makitzin bahenes hamizbeach, we use them to keep the mizbeach busy. What does it mean that we use it to keep the mizbeach busy? Olos habasar lashem. We buy olos, and with those olos, the meat goes for Hashem. For olos la kohanim, and the skins go for the kohanim. The skins get kept by the kohanim. That's one opinion. Tanya Kavased Rabbi Yochanan. We went to the brisa like Rabbi Yochanan. What is the meaning of Mosar Nesachim? Not the heaps on top of the measuring cups. but rather when Hekdesh made a profit. Someone who had promised that he was going to provide Hekdesh 4 sa'in per selah, v'amdu mishalosh, and now the price went up, and now it's 3 sa'in per selah, still mesapik me'arba. He still provides 4 sa'in. Mishalosh, but if he had promised to give 3 sa'in for the selah, v'amdu me'arba, and the prices went down, now people are delivering 4 sa'in per selah, mesapik me'arba, he needs to supply 4 sa'in. She had Hektish alo Yona because Hektish gains. So now Hektish has extra money because now they got more flour for this amount of money. So they're extra money. What are they going to do with the extra money? The extra money they're going to use to buy olos to keep the Mizbeach busy. That's what we learned. Mosar Nesachim, the leftovers of the Nesachim, the Kayetza Mizbeach, that's to keep the Mizbeach busy.
Rabbi, so is it possible they're both right? Or
That's interesting. Maybe. I didn't think of that. Yeah, maybe they're both right. Excellent. Okay, next Mishnah. Kol korbanos hatzibur v'ayachid. All korbanos, whether they are national korbanos, let's say a national ola like korban tamid, or an individual's korban ola, tu'unin nisachim, they need to be accompanied with wine, with the liquids. Chutz min ha-bechor, exception is Bechor and Maaser Behema, and the 10th animal of all the animals that were born this year. Pesach, or a Karban Pesach. Chatas, or a Karban Chatas, and an Asham. They do not need Nesachim. But there is a Chatas and Asham that needs Nesachim. We mentioned this the other day. The exception is the chatas and the asham of the mitzora that does need to be accompanied with liquids. Most chatos and ashamos don't need liquids. The chatas and the asham of the mitzora does need liquids. Tan Rabbanan learned in a brisa. The verse says in Parsha Shlach, "V'asisem ishel laHashem," and you will make a carbon for Hashem. Maybe everything which is ishe, everything which goes into the fire needs to be accompanied with liquids. And then afilu mincha, if somebody donates a minchas nadava, you should have to accompany it with wine. Because it's ishe. Some of it goes into the fire. The fistful goes into the fire. Tamalom, that's the verse says, ola. Okay, so now I might think only an ola needs nesachim. Shlam minayin. How do we know that a shlam also needs to have liquid with it? Tamalom, that's it says zevach. Zevach sounds like anything slaughtered, including a shlam. Toda minayin. How do we know it's toda? Tamalom, that's what it said. O zevach. Yochel shanim arbaach b'chor meiser pesach chatas v'asham. So maybe b'chor meiser pesach and chatas and asham should also need wine. Tamalom, that's what it says. Lefalei neder, to express in a vow over nadav or through a promise. So it's saying baba neder nadava ton nesachim. Those things that can come as a neder that you could donate. Yeah. They're the things that need nesachim. Sheino baba neder nadava, things that don't need. Things that you can't donate. A guy can't say, as we learned at the very end yesterday, can't say, I'm donating an asham. There's no such thing as a donated asham. An asham is an obligation. I'm donating chatas. You can't donate chatas. Either you're obligated or you're not obligated. So things that do not come with neder nadava, ein taron nesachim. They do not need to be accompanied with wine, with a liquid.
So Rabbi, if somebody couldn't bring menachos or animal or whatever, they would pay money to the Beit HaMikdash as a korbanot. They live far away, they couldn't carry an animal, so they pay money to Beit HaMikdash. Am I right? Is that, or the money that was in Beit HaMikdash, is that the holy money or
holy money?
So if somebody made a business with Beit HaMikdash and sold them stuff there, and they got that money is holy, no?
Yes.
So what do they do with it?
No, it's operational.
It loses its holiness once it went out.
Once it went out of the perimeter, it loses the
Once
holiness.
it was exchanged for something, the holiness on the money goes on to the grain, and
now grain become holy and the money become unholy.
So again, those things that are donated need wine. Things that are not possible to be donated don't need any wine. Mashma lahotzias elu. So that sounds like to exclude Bechor, Meiser, Pesach, and Chatas, since they're not Ba, B'neder B'nedava. So 1 second, asks the Gemara, maybe I can exclude something else. Otzias Chovos Habos Machmas HaRegel Baregel. Maybe I should say things that are obligations, they don't need Nesachim. Maybe the Ola Sriya, even though it's an Ola, and Shalmei Chagi, even though it's a Shlamim, since they're an obligation, they shouldn't need Nesachim. That's what the verse says. O b'moadeichem, or on your holidays. To say kol haba b'moadeichem, whatever is coming on your holidays, to Nesachim. That needs Nesachim. Mashma lahavi yaseh, and that's to include Olos Sriya and Shalmei Nedava. Asks the Gemara, if you're including things that are on the holiday, obviously rechatas. So maybe even the goats that are chatas as part of the musaf offering should need nesachim. Because those are also obligations on Yom Tov. Tamaloma, that's what the verse says. V'chita se ben bakar. And when you will make a cattle as a carbon. Ben bakar b'chlal haya. You already said, la'asos reach nichoach la'ashem min ha'bakar min hatzon. So it already included cattle. So, Lama Yatza, why does it say explicitly now V'chitase ben bakar lahakish elav? It's to compare to it, to say like this, and to link to it. Ma ben bakar miyuchad, ba benedru nedava. Just like a ben bakar is unique, it's sometimes donated, and sometimes it's an obligation. Afkol ba benedru nedava. So to everything which can be a donation, to exclude sa'ir chatas, which can never be a donation. Then the verse says, "Lasos reach nichoach laHashem," to make a nice smell for Hashem. Min habakar min hatzon. Not tamalim. Why do I have to add already? Min habakar min hatzon. Already said zevach. The answer is the fish in Amar Ola. Since it said Ola, shomeani afil Ola sa'of b'mashma. Maybe even an Ola of a bird should need nesachim. Tamalim. That's the verse says explicitly. Min habakar min hatzon. From the cattle or from the sheep, they need to be accompanied with wine, but birds not. Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yonasan Omer eno tzarech. I don't need that. Already, Homer, since the verse says zevach, zevach means something slaughtered. Ofeno zevach, a bird is not slaughtered; it's killed with the thumbnail. So therefore, of course, the bird doesn't need to be accompanied with wine. Imkain if so matam alom min habakar min hatzon. So then, what are you going to do with the words min habakar min hatzon? The answer is the never, since it says Adam ki yakiv mikem karban laHashem, a man who will bring from you a carbon to Hashem min habehema, from the animals min habakar min hatzon. I would have thought that if somebody says, I'm going to bring an Ola, he has to bring both of them. That's what it says, Mina Bakar Omenatzon. Ratza Echad Mevi, if he wants to, he can bring only one of them. And Ratza Shnaya Mevi, if he wants to, he can bring two of them. So the Gemara asks him, Lamali, why do you need such a pasuk? Lamali Kra, Amar doesn't Rabbi Yochanan tell you in general at Shifrit L'cha Akasav Yachtav. Unless the Torah didn't say together, then whenever it lists two things, it means either or. My answer is Itzrich, we do need this pasuk. To say Holy Ksiv Umenatzon, since it says and from the sheep. It's as if it says together. That's why I need to have a pasuk Mina Bakar Omenatzon. When you make a donation, you're going to give a carbon. You can bring either or. It doesn't mean that you have to bring both.